What's up guys, Eric with Verus Engineering, and behind me is the 2014 Subaru BRZ that started it all. Let's get it down so we can do a quick little video on it. As you may have noticed, the car doesn't exactly run right now, and that's basically because of a lack of time. We have a lot of other projects going on, and because we've already developed most of the products for this car, it's been tested, it's been messed with from various people, we kind of let it sit, and unfortunately, that's just how it is right now. At the end of the day, I believe the car just needs basically a tune, or a better tune. The tune that's on it's not really working out well. We'll probably end up taking it to Fat House at some point, have Corbin Johnson tune it if he's willing. But again, it's really low on that priority list as far as where this car is at. The car does sit around in kind of a various different states of disrepair and kind of gets pushed around. Right this moment, the bumper was on the car. Now we took it back off. We're working on a washer fluid reservoir for our brake cooling kit, and it's gonna fit the GR86 BRZ and the GT86 FRS BRZ. So both first and second gen. Excited to see that come to fruition. So we do keep this car around for a few different reasons. It does have some sentimental value. It was the car that basically started the company. So it definitely has that kind of meaning to me and the company. And then we also keep it around for development. So as I just I'm reiterating what I just said, we are developing parts for this car still. We may come out with more parts in the future. We don't know, but it does still serve a purpose for us because you guys keep modifying them, and we really appreciate that. So that allows us to continue to develop this car and this chassis as we need. We've come out with a few products here and there over the last year. We continue to develop parts for this car, and we look forward to the future of developing even more parts for this car if the need arises. So like always, let us know in the comments below if you want to see something developed, if you think there's something that really tickles your fancy that we could help bring to life. We're always interested in ideas. We appreciate it. All right, so the engine is a 3SGE out of an Altezza, which is an IS200 stateside. The engine actually does hold some sentimental value to me as well because my first quote-unquote race car was a 3S GTE MR2 turbo. So this is kind of like the more modern 3S GTE turbo. It's now shoved into a BRZ, and in my opinion, it's pretty cool. So it's kind of like got that JDM feel to it, old school JDM feel to it, like kind of almost like a 240SX, you know, big turbo hanging off of it with a big intake manifold. Yeah, anyways, that's kind of what's going on with the engine. It's got a turbo. When it was tuned by the previous owner, it made 330 horsepower at, I believe, 8 PSI, so it makes quite a bit of power. We had to go over the entire kit as I was installing it. The exhaust manifold was cracked, so I redid that. I'm not a fan of external wastegate, so I rerouted the wastegate back into the downpipe. I redid some of the charge piping, I believe. I had to make sure that it would actually mount my front splitter, so I added this angle iron. I redid the coolant pipes because I didn't want to run a radiator from a Miata. I wanted to run our radiator, so that is our FRS BRZ radiator that really rejects a lot of heat. So I made those coolant lines out of aluminum, welded them up, and then I had to re-weld the intake manifold. It was leaking. I forget what else I did, but yeah, I had to fix a lot with the kit, and then finally install it, and then that's kind of where it's sat since because the company kind of took off. We're really busy, and I just don't have time to mess with it, and I haven't found somebody that I trust to work on it yet either. So unfortunately, I would like to drive it someday, but we'll see. If I were to do it all over again, and this was before K-Power had their K-Series swap, I would go with a K-Series. The K-Series actually really features a cool I don't know if it's cool, but it seems like it's a little bit more well thought out. The intake manifold's on this side. The exhaust manifold's on this side. So if you were gonna turbo it or just for exhaust routing, the exhaust side being on this side of the car is so much more beneficial. Look how close the exhaust manifold is to the brake master and the clutch master. And on top of that, the steering shaft. There's so much on this side of this vehicle, USDM of course, that I would not recommend this. Now, if it was a JDM car, I would be willing to bet that it's completely different because probably everything's transposed on that side. And then you have plenty of room on this side. But for USDM cars, the K-Series makes so much more sense from an intake manifold being on this side, which is like a cooler side of the engine bay, and then keep all the heat and have extra area to do whatever you want to do on the passenger side. And then on top of that, K-Power makes it super easy. Haltech, tuned, ready to go. We do actually have CAN bus figured out on this car, but that was when Haltech was just now figuring it out. So the check engine light does actually flash. Some things do actually work, and honestly, it might be better since the last time I messed with it. So that was, I don't know, 3 years ago. These are some of the first hood louvers. They are the first hood louvers that we ever made, and we sold them out of my house in Arizona. A lot of this stuff was first articles of stuff that we machined up and then test fit and then ran on our car before, you know, distributing it nationwide. So this car had so many prototypes installed on it, and it was a lot of fun. I think this air oil separator might actually say Velox on it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this one's an oldie. So we have our carbon polyweave side splitters on the vehicle as well, with kind of a rubber skirt on the bottom side. We offer both styles, and we've kind of found out over time that certain markets want a little bit less expensive product, certain markets want a more expensive, more nicer looking product, and we kind of cater to each of those markets in that way. We are discontinuing products that aren't selling, which shouldn't be a surprise to you guys. So because this car was our first development car, it makes sense that it's one of the highest cataloged parts cars that we have. So we have more parts for this vehicle than all the other cars, I think. Alex is saying maybe, I don't know, to be honest. We have a lot of parts for various cars at this point, but this car definitely has a very large engineering folder, let's just say that, as far as parts that we've developed. And like I just said, we are still developing parts for this car, and it is near and dear to our hearts for sure. All right, so this is a carbon ducktail spoiler. Fun fact about this is actually the second carbon ducktail that we made for this vehicle, because we paid for tooling, we made the parts, and it was awesome. And then Toyota and Subaru released the second generation, what is it, 2019 plus style, which we covered up the holes for the 2014 to 2019. And then of course, Toyota and Subaru put holes like right frickin' here, and then we have to redesign the entire part, redo the mold, which was not cheap, and then finally make some more. But that, as a result, we were one of the first people to produce a ducktail spoiler that covered the entire range of vehicles, the holes that are there from the factory. So customers do appreciate that. It was also, I believe, one of Paul's first ducktails, and he did a freaking awesome job. It was also one of the first surfaced parts that we made in NX, and as a result, it looks awesome as well. We're able to do some type of surfacing called G3 continuity, some engineering nerd terms right there. And basically that means that we're able to control the surface in a way that is an automotive finish. And that allows us to produce surfaced parts that are, in my opinion, a step above the rest. I'm sure other people are able to produce and surface parts really well in various other CAD softwares, but because we use NX, and NX is used highly in automotive, we're able to use the same tools that they're able to use and really develop some really cool aero/aesthetic products that look really nice and just are a step up from what's really out there otherwise. All right, so we have our rear diffuser. This was an aggressive variant. We now have a non-aggressive and an aggressive variant for the FRS BRZ. We don't do that too often anymore because it takes up twice the space, and we try to just decide which one looks better and go from there. We designed and produced these based off of two factors, like the aggressive strake. The first factor was CFD. So we actually did some serious CFD work on an R35 GTR as far as the strake design concept goes. And this design on the trailing edge actually proved to perform slightly better. And I'm not talking, it's like, you're not gonna feel it. But we did the engineering, and we found out a slight improvement, and it's based off of this shape. There are some negatives to this. They hit your shins. People complain about that. All right, thanks for following along on our 2014 Subaru BRZ, which started the company, and what we've done to it. There's a few more parts coming to it, and if we ever get it on the road, we'll probably throw a rear wing on it and actually track it and have some fun with it, because these cars are actually a lot of fun. Let us know in the comments below what you'd like to see us do with the car, whether that be developing some parts, fixing it up, I don't know. Just let us know. We're always interested in hearing your comments. Till next time, I'm out.